Hey everyone, welcome back to my number sense series. In this video, we're going to talk about a more general form of what we've been discussing for the last few videos. So you might remember, in our last few videos, we did things like how to do 102 times 104. We did things like how to do 99 times 94. Well, this is going to be a more generalized version of that, because now we no longer require the first digit to be a 1. That was convenient, but of course it's no longer needed for us. To do these problems, we will, though, use the same idea. The same idea that we use to derive tricks for things like 102 times 104, which is, of course, FOIL. So I'm going to start off with even a little bit of an easier version of that. I'm going to do a problem where the leading digits are the same. So, for example, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 6 and 6. Of course, that's not always the case, but in my experience in number sense, they like to evenly split you on problems like 302 times 304, where the leading digits are the same, compared to problems like 205 times 306, where the leading digits are different. So when we do this, of course, our first step is FOIL. So we're going to write this as 300 plus 2 times 300 plus 4. And now when we FOIL this out, what we get is 300 times 300 plus 300 times 4 plus 300 times 2 plus 2 times 4. So let's multiply this out. We get 90,000 plus 300 times 6 plus 8. And we're just going to write this as 1,800. And so when we add all this up, what we get is 91808. And now, as we've completed this example, as we always do, it's time to take a step back and ask, where does this number come from? And if you remember the trend from our other videos, we are going to look at basically this, and this. Just like how when we do 102 times 104 equals 10608, we analyze it like this, right? The 06 is 2 plus 4, and the 08 is 2 times 4. It's something very similar for this. For example, you might notice that this 08 is still 2 times 4, which does make sense because between these two problems, it's still just 2 and 4. The only thing that's been changed is the hundredth digit, but that doesn't impact the fact that the last two digits are still 2 and 4. But, of course, there are some significant things that are changed. For example, where does this 18 come from? Well, you might notice, where do we get 18? We got 18 from 300 times 6. In other words, 18 is 3 times 6, right? It's 3 times 4 plus 3 times 2. 3 plus 4 times plus 3 times 2. 3 times 4 plus 3 times 2. It is basically the O and I, the outer and inner in FOIL. That's where we get these two digits. And where we get our first digit, well, of course, like implied, we get it from the first part in FOIL, the first. 3 times 3 makes 9. So in total, where do we get it? 9 is 3 times 3, which is the F part, the first. 18 is 3 times 4 plus 3 times 2. That's the O and I, the outer and inner, which is 18. And the 08 is going to come from the last. The L in FOIL is 2 times 4, and that's where we get 91808. Now let's try with another example. And try to beat me to it, you know? 403 times 407. I will write out this one with FOIL just to make it a little bit more clear for anyone who still doesn't understand, which is perfectly okay. So this is 400 plus 3 times 400 plus 7, right? And now, of course, let's FOIL it out again. We'll get 160000 plus 400 times 7 plus 400 times 3 plus 21. And this we'll just write as 4,000, right? It's 400 times 10. So when we add this up, we'll get 164021. And now, once again, let's take a step back and ask ourselves, where did this number come from? Well, let's think about it like this. 2140 and 16. Okay. Let's think about it similarly. 21, where's 21 coming from? It's, well, 3 times 7, right? It's the L in FOIL, it's the last. 3 times 7 is 21. Where did 40 come from? Well, of course, again, it's the O and the I's, the outer and the inner. Where here, the outer is 4 times 7, which is 28, and the inner is 3 times 4, which is 12. And 28 plus 12 gives you 40. So it's 40. And 16, well, it's the first part of our number, and it's also the F in FOIL. The first part is 4 times 4, which is 16. And that's where we got our answer, 164021. Now, let's try to do just this one in our head. 607 times 608. All right, let's start writing from the right in case we have to do any carrying, which we don't here, but it's a good habit to, kind of get ingrained. So from the right, what are our last two digits? Our last two digits are, of course, the L in FOIL, 7 times 8. The last digits is 56. Then our next two digits are going to be the O and the I, right? The outer and the inner is 6 times 8 plus 6 times 7, which by the distributive property is 6 times 8 plus 7, which is 6 times 15, which is 90. And of course, our first two digits will be the F in FOIL, the first digits multiplied together, which is 3, 6. And that's that, done and dusted, right? But of course, this is the ever so slightly an easier version of the general problem because these first two digits are the same. But of course, that is not going to be always the case. For example, 205 times 306, 401 times 708. So how do we deal with this? Well, we deal with it in a very predictable way. It's still last, outer, inner, and first. So 205 times 306. I'll write this out in FOIL, just in case. And so it's going to be 200 plus 5 times 300 plus 6. And what this gives us is 60,000 plus 5 times 300 plus 6 times 200 plus 30. All right, and when we add all this up, what we're going to get is 62730. Now, once again, let's take a step back and ask ourselves, where did these numbers come from? Well, just like before, 30 is just 5 times 6, right? And just like before, 27 is going to be the outer and the inner in FOIL. The outer would be 2 times 6, 2 times 6 is 12, and the inner would be 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15, 12 plus 15 is 27. And 6 would be the first, 2 times 3 is 6. You can see really nothing changed at all, except the computation will be slightly harder, just by a bit. Now our last problem, try to do this in your head, see if you can beat me to it. I'm going to start from the right, 1 times 8 is going to be our last two digits. 1 times 8 is 8, so I will write 08, because we do, of course, have two digits of space allocated for that 8. Now I'm going to do the outer and the inner FOIL. So outer, 4 times 8 is 32. Inner is 1 times 7 is 7. 32 plus 7 is 39. And then I'll do the first, is 4 times 7, which is simply 28. And that's it. We just did a 3-digit multiplication problem in about 10 seconds, right? All in our head. And it all really comes down to, first of all, the kind of problem, right? This kind of problem is especially easy, but it also really comes down to the trick and understanding why that trick works. Because once again, it is all built around FOIL. And even if you understand this, you will be able to remember this trick whenever you want. You don't have to memorize it because it is so simple to derive. So this will be pretty much the final video in our overall series of A0B times C0D, these kind of multiplication problems. I hope it all sticks with you. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.